Hi, Charles from Novak Migration. Let's have a look at this new pandemic 408 stream of visa pathway, whatever. Let's have a look. 3 days ago, the new legislative instrument has been released, LIN 20/122, for COVID-19 pandemic event for subclass 408 visa and visa application charge. So let's have a look at this instrument. What does it say over here? So essentially 408 visa, it's nothing new. This visa has been is available for quite a long time. There are a few different streams, and the government might from time to time introduce some sort of the event upon which the visa could be granted. So government decided to make the COVID-19 an event, and because of that, people can apply for the visa. So there are some paragraphs. The instrument is made under the following provisions of the regulations: paragraph 408.229b of Schedule 2, C of Schedule 2, and 2075. I will get there later, and then COVID-19 pandemic means the pandemic declared by the World Health Organization caused by the coronavirus. And the class of persons under 229b who can apply for this visa, who might be able to apply for this visa, the people who actually might be eligible for this visa, a person must be in Australia, cannot be able to leave Australia because of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are no flights, so probably everybody would fall over here. The holder of a temporary visa, okay, that is 20 days or less from ceasing to be in effect, which means that if your visa will expire in 28 days, you might be eligible for this 408. Or visa that ceased to be in effect not more than 28 days before the application. So if your visa expired, you can still apply for the 408, but not later than 28 days after your visa expired, right? What else? This one is interesting. If the person must be unable to make a valid application for a visa of the same subclass as the visa mentioned in paragraph C. So if you are, let's say, on some temporary visa, on the visitor visa, let's say, unless there is 8503 condition, no further stay, you can apply for another visitor visa, not a problem. A student visa, in theory, you can apply for another student visa as well. 485, okay, that might be the case over here, because you cannot apply for another 485. Working holiday makers, if they didn't do their 88 days for the second working holiday visa, that could be the option, and half a year for the third visa, that could also be the option, right? So it seems like 485 and working holiday makers could fit over here, or a temporary visa of any other subclass other than a subclass 408 visa. You can always apply for the visitor visa, so it's quite ambiguous. So you cannot apply for the same subclass, but you always can apply for the visitor visa. So what's the point over here? I don't know. Visa application charge is nil, so this one is free, all right? And let's have a look at the explanatory statement, what they say. Applicant is eligible for grant of a visa in the subclass 408 if they are undertaking work directly associated with an event specified in the legislative instrument. So over here the event has been specified, that the COVID-19, the pandemic, has been specified as an event. So the person must be working directly to fight essentially the event. Yes, the job must be related to the event. Okay. Even as a class of persons, COVID-19 pandemic, yeah, as I said, as event for the paragraph. So provide pathway for certain former and current holders of temporary visas to lawfully remain in Australia and who would otherwise be required to depart Australia. Who bought for the COVID-19 pandemic are unable to leave Australia. Happy days. So in theory, anybody who cannot leave Australia apply for the 408. No, not really. The instrument limits the class of persons who can be granted the visa to those who hold a visa 28 before or after ceasing. Okay. But have a look over here. The purpose of the instrument is also to implement a measure to respond to workforce shortages during the COVID-19 pandemic in relation to areas including but not limited to agriculture, aged care, public health. The instrument is designed to allow holders of temporary visas who are engaged in, so those who have got the work rights, temporary visa with the work rights, or have the relevant skills to undertake critical work. So in theory, those who are on the visitor visas might have relevant skills to undertake critical work. Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, I don't know. This is not clear over here. So in theory, if there will be some nurses on the visitor visa in Australia, probably they might be eligible for this visa, provided the applicant falls within the class of persons specified by the instrument. So temporary visa, that's the main one. That's the main one over here. What is the catch over here? The person who is working or has got the skills, all right? So if having skills, it's apparently not enough to be eligible for this visa. You will have to have some sort of letter from the employer you are working for or you intend to work for, and then the letter will have to be provided with your application. Okay, so that's what is in this legislative instrument. Let's have a look how the 408 visa works. What are the requirements for 408 visa? So the applicant has adequate arrangements for health insurance during the period of the applicant's intended stay in Australia. So whoever is willing to get the 408 visa will have to get the health insurance. It's not like with the student visa that you have to have health insurance bought for the whole period of time. You can get it from some local medical provider, OVHC, Overseas Visitor Health Cover, and you can pay it in a weekly, fortnightly, monthly installment. And if the health cover provider will provide with such a letter, that's fine. The government should be satisfied. The applicant genuinely intends to stay temporarily in Australia for the purpose for which the visa is granted, having regard to. So the applicant must be willing to work to battle the pandemic. To comply with the conditions on a relevant matter. Another one, the applicant has adequate means to support himself or herself, or access to adequate means to support himself or herself during the period of the applicant's intended stay in Australia. So that's another requirement for the 408 visa. You must have, if your employer will be paying you for your job, that could be considered that the applicant might have access to the means of support. But if the job will be voluntary and if the applicant does not have the money, will not satisfy this 408.15. all right, so that's interesting. 408.229, so that's what has been specified in the regulation, remember, not regulation, in the legislative instrument. So over here, if we look over here, authority, paragraph 408.229b and 229c. So this is the one, 229b. The event is specified in the legislative instrument made by the minister for the purposes of this paragraph, which is this one, okay? And the applicant is in a class of persons specified in the instrument in relation to the event. See? So this is the one, subregulation 408.229c, okay? So that's how it more or less looks like. And what about the application? You go to your email account, you will have to choose 408 visa, and then let's go to the application. You must be in Australia, okay, to be eligible for this one. Then for how long, whether it's gonna be 3, 6, 12, over 12, we don't know how long it's gonna take. You might need to provide with some letter from your employer, what are they expecting, but nobody knows. You can choose 12 months, and if you're gonna get it for 3 months because the case officer will make a decision that the 3 months is enough, that's fine. But if you will go with 12 months, you will have to provide much stronger evidence than if you would go ahead with the 3 months. So make your own decision. 3 months, like this, 12 months. Agree. All right, so let's say 12 months. Date from, date to, then activity type. This particular one is Australian government endorsed events. Is this application being launched as part of a group of applications? If there is a few of you and you are working together, living together, whatever, you may tick yes. Otherwise, if it's just you, no. This application charge concession, yes. Under this instrument, remember, subparagraph is nil over here, nil, 0, nilch, okay, and just refer the instrument, nil, vac, next, must match the date from and date to. Up to 12 months. Okay, next. They will ask you whether you are sure that it's nil, because if you would have to pay for it, it's gonna be invalid. Then your details, John Doe. It's not the person. Confirmation of the details from the passport. Previous travel to Australia. Of course, you must have traveled to Australia because you must be in Australia to be eligible for this visa. So it's gonna be yes. Previous passports. If you have had any other passports in the past, apart from the one which you are having, grant number. If you remember grant number, yes. If no, no, not a biggie. Let's go next. Let's go next. Accompanying members of the family unit. This is interesting. It looks that you might be able to include your family, your members of your family unit as well, which is your partner and kids. Okay, so if you would have any, you would have to list them over here. If no, no. Country of residence, your address, contract phone number, email address, whether you are using migration agent or not. And here it is, Australian organization, your employer. You must have an employer who is willing to give you a job and who you are providing some job which is related to the COVID-19, to the pandemic, right? If you will not provide with any company over here, the error will pop up and it will tell you that you must provide with some information about the employer, right? So company, trading name, the information about the company, their ABN, ACN, whatever they've got. ABN, ACN, ASX, corporate of incorporation, the identifiers, office address of the company, contact person details. This is the information which must be provided. Confirm. Once you will provide with the organization details, you can go further. And now what you are going to do over there. Position, what is the position? Nurse, let's say nurse. Occupation grouping, nurse, nurses, where would... I would say professionals. Okay, professionals, registered nurse, you will have to choose the occupation. Okay, then duties, activities, write whatever duties, activities you will be doing on the position. And this one, it's important, okay? You will have to, let's delete this one, okay? Event name, if you will not add an event, you will have to provide something. So add, there are 2 events. So you will choose COVID-19. date from 06/04/2019. If you have applied for a year, you will have to 04 2000, not 19, 2020, sorry, 2021. Applicant's role in the event. What's gonna be your role in the event? Nurse. Applicant's role description. Providing services as a nurse. Provide with a lot of information over here, so the case officer might be satisfied that you actually are doing something related to the COVID-19, to the pandemic. Why not? Must be today or in the future. Today or in the future. Well, it is today. 7th. Okay, today or in the future. Confirm. So if nurse, childcare seems to be obvious, but if you will be working in the company which is producing the face masks, might not be the obvious, but it seems to be related to fighting the pandemic. So provide with the information over here, so the case officer will be satisfied that you are doing something related with COVID. Remuneration. So here is the one. If you are not being paid for your job, you will have to provide with the information that you have got funds to support yourself and your family. If you are getting paid, then you will have to provide paid, I don't know, 50k per year, whatever. Previous countries of residence, of course, 10 years, last 10 years. Of course, it's about countries of residence where you have lived, so you will have to provide the information over here. We will not be doing that, but just because. Foreign affairs supported, if you are not, let's say. Health insurance. Over here you will have to provide with the information about your health insurance, okay? From, to, cancel. It's allowing to go ahead without the evidence of health insurance, but without the health insurance it's quite unlikely that your visa will be granted. Then the health declarations. What is interesting over here, intend to work as to be a doctor, dentist, nurse. If you will tick that you are going to work as a nurse, doctor, whatever, they will send you to do the medicals, and BUPA is not scheduling any medical examinations at the moment, so I don't know if they thought about it, or if the HAP ID will be generated automatically and they will not be processing with the visa application without the medicals, and the person will stuck on the bridging visa. For those who are having the work rights, not a big issue, but in the situation when somebody not a big issue, because the bridging visa will have very likely the same conditions as the previous visa. So 485, not a problem. Full-time work rights. Working holiday maker, bridging visa will be another visa than the working holiday visa. So another 6 months working with the same employer on the bridging visa will be allowed. Not a big issue. But those who are on the visitor visa, on the bridging visa, they will not have the work rights. So that could be an issue. So here's the question, whether they will be sending people to do the medical examinations, which are not possible to be done at the very moment. Character declarations, whatever is right, you will have to answer correctly. Paying for visa sponsorship. So this is where you are confirming that you did not bribe anybody, or nobody bribed anybody for you to get the visa. Declarations. All of the declarations, read, check, tick correctly. Summary. And what we are having at the end, then they are asking for the documents. VAC exemption evidence. So as an evidence, you can provide with the letter, with the legislative instrument. It's clear over here why there is an evidence. Invitation to participate. So here it's something which you would have to provide with your employer, very likely. Personal financial status. If you have got money on the bank account, provide with the screenshot from your online banking, statement from the bank. If you don't really have the money over there, so then the letter statement from the employer, accountant, whatever, some sort of evidence that you will get paid. Health insurance, here it is, they're asking for the health insurance, OVHC, travel document, your passport. So not many documents are being requested, but this one it's obvious. You will have to provide with some sort of the document from the employer for which you will be working. All right. If you have included the family members, you will have to provide more information. There will be some more places to provide with the information. Next. Why I didn't provide? If none of the evidence is being provided, they will ask why. If everything is provided, this will not pop up. So if not provided, you will have to write something over there. Submit application. See, at the very end, they are not asking for any payment. So this one is free. Okay, so if you would be eligible for this visa, it's the one to go. Any questions, please give us a call or send us an email. Thank you very much.